Y'all ready? Decision actually means to cut off. That's what decision means. When you break it down, it's an old English word. When you break it down, it actually means to cut off. That's what a decision means. And so why am I telling you that? It's because, again, if you are going to improve this year, this is going to be the best year that you ever had. This is going to be the highest scores that you ever got in terms of an outcome or result. Guess what? You're going to have to make a decision. You got to decide first. And what I mean by that is that there are some people that are still thinking about their decision. They're still deciding if they're in or if they're out. They're playing double dutch. And so you have to make a decision. And when you make a decision, that means that you are all in. There is no compromise. There's no negotiation with once you say that you're all in. And if it means to cut off, guess what? I decided to pursue excellence. I decided to instruct with excellence. If I decided that, that means I cut off the option of being average. I cut it off. Because guess what? There are going to be some kids that come in your room and they too are facing a decision. And you're going to have to help them to make a decision. They have reality on one side and then there's a bridge of dreams on the other side. And they're trying to figure out, how do I change my reality, cross over the bridge and get to the dreams? How do I do that? Make a decision. Because guess what? Dreams don't come true. Guess what? Decisions do. Everybody has a dream. Did anybody wake up this morning and say, hey, I just want to be average? Anybody? No. Exactly. Nobody woke up saying, I want to be average this morning. Nobody say, hey, I just want to barely get by. Nobody say, I just want to barely show up. I just want to barely teach. I just want to barely instruct. Nobody set that goal. But guess what? Sometimes we fall on that goal. And it's because we haven't made a decision to be all in. A decision. You have to decide. In this moment, you have to decide that I'm giving this thing everything that I got. 100%. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it feels like. I am giving it 100% this year. Decision, cut it off. Cut off the option to quit. Cut off the option to go back. When you get to the middle of the bridge, when they get to the middle of the bridge, they're going to want to go back sometimes because it's going to get hard, y'all. It's going to get hard. There are going to be some days that they wake up, they don't feel like showing up. There are going to be some days that you wake up, you don't feel like showing up, especially if it's Monday. Sometimes you don't feel like being here, but guess what? You cannot let your feelings drive the decision. It's okay to have the feelings, but you just can't let them have them. You can't allow the feelings to have you. As I was working in IT, again, I made a ton of money, y'all. I walked away from $280,000 a year. I walked away from a 401k plan. I walked away from insurance. I walked away. I made a decision. In that moment, I said, I'm deciding to go after what I think belongs to me. I want to be a motivational speaker. You can have this. But it was a decision that I made, though. So you too got to make a decision. Sometimes you got to make the decision for them because they can't decide for themselves a lot of times. So you become the voice, you become the role model, you become the person that they're looking at and they're saying, hey, I want to be just like Miss Susie. I want to be just like them when I grow up. But I just don't know how to get there though. And you have to teach them that once you make a decision, you're cutting off the option to remain where you are. You are changing your future every time that you make a decision, and it's got to be a powerful decision. So if you can get them to decide, to commit, decide to be all in, decide to compete and to dominate in the space where they are, decide to tap into their unique ability. If you can get them to decide that, guess what? Everything changes. Everything changes if you get them to decide. But it starts with you though. It starts with you pushing them towards excellence. It starts with you deciding to be all in. It starts with you deciding not to quit. There were plenty options to always go back. Plenty options to always go back. There were plenty of calls and say, hey, we got a contract for you. You know, we would love to have you before. And sometimes, yes, if I'm honest, sometimes, yes, I was tempted. Especially when I first started, because when I made a leap, again, I had one client. I made a leap just by having one person that I was going to work with. And it was looking good for August, but guess what? The moment that I made that leap, guess what? Everything went downhill. Everything went downhill. I had nothing. But I resist the temptation to go back because I made a decision. I made a decision, y'all. And you got to do the same thing with the kids in your classroom. Regardless of the emotional state of what you are, you got to make a decision for yourself first, and then you got to make a decision for them.